welcome to the latest edition of the CrushCast. I'm Jesse Morrison, and today we have a very special guest who has also co-hosted before on this podcast, and that is Yessie Diaz, the web and content director for the Cortland Crush. Yessie, how's it going today?
Good. It's going pretty good. It's a nice rainy day here in South Florida.
Sounds like what is usually the climate of South Florida. So I just wanted to get in, before we get into your role with the Crush and everything. Just Florida's crazy right now with COVID. What is it like down there in South Beach or Miami area?
Well, right now, a lot of people are masking up. So when you go outside, there's like a mandatory mask order. So you have to wear it even before you go into the store.
Awesome.
If you go outside, you'll see people walking, they'll be with their mask. So yeah. Awesome. But the more north you go, the less you see.
And obviously, I mean, you're a Yankees fan. They're playing really well right now, but they have.
No, they're great.
Yeah, they haven't had any issues. Aaron Judge just named AL Player of the Week, but the Marlins, on the other hand, they haven't played in forever, like a week now, because of their COVID outbreak. It looks like they're going to play tomorrow against my team, the Orioles. But just like, what is the city down there like? I know you still go out and go to your job. Like, what do people do? Is it a topic of conversation down there?
Yes, of course. I mean, you can't ignore it. So
yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I some people in my job, they rotate, so we'll be on rotation.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you can't ignore it. But yeah, no, the Marlins. Oh, that's like all over the news every day. Like first it looked like they were gonna play, like it was all set, and then COVID.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you joined the Crush last season, 2019. How did you get involved? How did you get in contact with the Crush, and how did that start?
Okay, so I got involved with the Crush through a coworker. They introduced me to Bill, and I did a couple of graphic design jobs for them for the upcoming season, which we thought was going to happen back in like June and July. And then we started collaborating a little bit. And then I ended up doing some web work, moving over the website to the new server. And we started planning out, the season, how we were going to market it and stuff. But then 2020 hit, and, we just went with the flow and made lemonade out of lemons.
And so, going back, how early did you get into, graphic designing, and that, like, what point in your life did that become like a big interest for you?
I would say back in like the 2000s. What really lured me into it was like typography. Like I would go see like films and like the beginning credits and the ending credits. And it's like, oh, how do they do that? And that sort of got me into graphic design and doing like fan sites back in the day and building helping people build up their businesses. So yeah, just.
And you also, you code as well. Like that's one of the big points of it. And I'm so bad at that. That is something that, like, I took a coding class. I've never had a more stressful college experience than that class. So I respect anybody that is able to do that. And I just, like, it is just so hard for me.
Was it Java?
I don't even know, but like, just question, how do you do it? And like, when did you start coding? Like that is the coolest part of your job, in my opinion.
Thank you. All right. Well, I'm probably going to date myself. So I started back in 1989.
Wow.
I started on my own. Like I would come home from school and I would just dive into it, start making websites before websites were like a thing.
Wow, that's cool. So, over the years, like, it's obviously technology has just, evolved and stuff. So like, how in your job do you adapt to like the new, um, you know, ways of technology, I guess is, for lack of a
You,
better term.
you just gotta, read up on things, do research a bit at a time. Sometimes if you've been out of it for years, it could seem overwhelming. But, the more you do it, the more you practice, the more hours you put into it and invest, the more it sort of becomes clear. Even if in the beginning it's a bit jumbled. But yeah, you just gotta invest. But the fun thing about now compared to back then, now the technology has evolved so much, and there's like different roles for different things. Back then, it was just one role. One person did everything. One person did the back end and the front end. Now, typically in the industry, you have somebody designing it, somebody coding it, somebody testing it. It's more different parts, and it's faster now because
Yeah,
the,
obviously.
the technology's involved.
Yeah,
So
I can on this tiny little phone, and I can go on a
I
website.
know.
I remember just like 10 years ago how like impossible it was to, go on, like how impossibly slow it was even on like the best iPhone that they had. It was like, you know,
Yeah,
take forever to
yeah,
come
no.
across, and so it's just gotten so much better. So going back to the Crush, what how have you enjoyed it so far? Obviously there's been no season this year, for obvious reasons and smart reasons now that we're seeing what has happened with Major League Baseball. Um, I thought that decision was a good decision. But yeah, how's it been so far with the Crush?
It's been great. Bill's been great. The staff has been great. We've collaborated on a lot of different projects, and I think it's been great. You know, we've turned a situation into a positive.
Yeah, made
You know,
lemonade out of lemons. Um,
yeah.
so you have a regular job as well as your design job. You work for the city of North Miami Beach as an administrative assistant. So what does that job entail, and how are you enjoying it?
It's different. It's a lot of processing processes. Of course, now you don't see people hardly. But yeah, no, it's fun. You work with a great team of people, and every day is a new experience.
And you started your own business, Yessie Designs. You can follow that on Twitter. A shameless plug there.
Thank you.
So just when did that start? And yeah, when did you start doing that?
That I started a couple of years ago. Just because I decided, I've been doing this for a very long time, helping a lot of people. Why not just make it official, sort of?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it's been great.
And what has been, maybe the coolest project that you've worked on so far, with your business?
I would say the Crush, like getting to work with the Crush and like collaborating with like a team more than one person. Because typically with other clients, you're just communicating one on one. But with the Crush, it's like a collaborative thing with different people.
Yeah, and you've got to do podcasts and stuff. That did you expect to do any of that kind of stuff when you joined the Crush?
I didn't actually. No, I never would have imagined it. And honestly, I'm really grateful for having the opportunity.
That's awesome. So what kind of stuff do you like to do on the side other than the design stuff and your job, and yeah, what do you do in your spare time?
I collect animation cells.
Okay. So what does that entail?
That's like either going on eBay or going on like Japanese sites and like hunting down like actual animation cells from like the early 2000s, because obviously nowadays everything is computerized, so they don't make hand painted cells anymore. That's like its own little work of art.
So like, what did you grow up watching, like, anime cartoons, and did that kind of just translate into you getting into that?
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah, I started watching Sailor Moon in the late 90s. Before anime was mainstream and you had to go to the comic shops to get like the bootleg VHS tapes. Yeah, yeah, that kind of got me started on that path.
So did you watch any of the more mainstream ones that were on like Cartoon Network, or did you keep it to kind of the stuff that people wouldn't know in the States?
No, I would watch some mainstream stuff like Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop on Adult Swim. That's a really good one. It's short, but it's good. Do
Okay.
you do you do, do you watch any anime?
I used to, I don't know if it counts as anime, but I used to, when I was a kid, I never got into the cards or any of that. Like my brother did. But for a couple of summers in a row, Pokemon would always be on in the morning. And so I'd watch that. I don't know if, I think that counts as anime, right?
Yeah, yeah, that definitely
So yeah.
counts.
So yeah, I would watch that, and I really enjoyed it. Especially like the battle scenes. I thought those were fun. So yeah, that was like a staple of my like morning cartoons as a kid. Like it was like that and Ben 10 and Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends. So like those shows were shows that I really enjoyed as a kid. Um, yeah, so that's cool. Like what's the coolest one that you found or purchased on eBay?
Probably some Kikyo cells from Inuyasha. Inuyasha is like this anime that ran in the mid 2000s, early to mid 2000s. And Kikyo is a very particular character, so you don't see many cells of her. In the fandom, she's not a very liked character.
So I'm planning to be, as of now, I'm planning to be back with the Crush and for the 2021
Oh,
season.
that's great.
So I'm gonna talk to Bill. I think it would be cool if we had an anime night at the one of the Crush games, because I know personally a ton of people that like anime. I think that'd be a great and different promotional night. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, let's do it. I think that'd be awesome.
Yay. So yeah, so let's put that on the calendar for next season. But last question, have you been to Cortland yet?
Not yet, unfortunately. I was gonna go this year, but COVID.
Yeah, actually, what
But here's
go on, sorry.
here's hoping for next year.
And actually, I had another question. So your Yankees, I'm sure you've been watching them, and just we touched on it earlier, but what are your thoughts on how they've been doing this year and Aaron Judge and everything?
I think they've been great. They've been really surprising given the games, and they play tonight. Yankees and Phillies.
Yankees and Phillies. That is
Yeah,
correct.
Yankees.
So thank you so much for coming on, and this was fun, and I look forward to doing work with you next year.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
And I
and
look forward to more collaboration next year.
yes, and make sure to follow us on Twitter at Crushball, Instagram at Cortland Crush Baseball, Facebook at Cortland Crush.